Yep, it's gone. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Myers.
Hello.
We are going to be talking about the lesson that I observed on May 5th. And I have some questions that are written down here. We'll go over those questions and you'll give me a brief summary of what we went over. And that will be it. So
Okay.
first, I want to ask you, as you reflect on the lesson, to what extent were students productively engaged?
I thought all the students were engaged, except for one. The one student is having a few behavioral issues, and so I tried to stand as close to him as possible. When the students are not engaged, either myself or my associate, try to do more close proximity, keep redirecting, helping the student, touching papers, patting them on the shoulder, things like that, to try to keep them engaged. Plus, still try to show the other kids some attention. And so, other than him, I thought everybody participated well, and then he eventually did get with the rest of the lesson.
Okay, yeah, I did note that you did a really good job at redirecting him back to the task and finally getting him back on task, so that was really good. Did the students learn what you intended? Were your instructional goals met, and how do you know?
Yes, I believe all the goals were met, and the students were actively participating. We did guided practice work first, and then we had the students do independent work, and all of the kids did very well on their independent work. If they struggle, we try to go around, try to help them out, try to go back to it. Let's look at this example that we did together on the board or on the Elmo. And sometimes just showing examples, then the kids, some light comes on for them.
Okay. Okay, the next one, did you alter your goals or instructional plan as you taught the lesson? If so, why?
I didn't really, I don't think, alter anything. I kind of stuck with the plan that I had in place. We started out, we had done daily oral language first, working on our grammar and mechanics. From there, we had done a reading lesson where the kids listen to a story, and then we do comprehension worksheets and talk about the word of the day. That ties all in with everything that we're doing. And the kids kind of know the routine. We try to stick with the same routine daily on what we're going to do, so they know what's coming. That way they're more prepared.
Okay, great. If you had the opportunity to teach this lesson again to the same group of students, what would you do differently and why?
I don't think I would do anything differently. If I did, I might, like in math, sometimes you do pre-tests and post-tests. In language, it's kind of hard to do that, or in reading, it's kind of hard to do that. But I guess if you could, like on the daily oral language, maybe have the kids try to do some independent work first, and then do some guided practice, and then go back and let's look at, do this independent work over again. Do something like that. But otherwise, no, I think I'd leave everything the same.
Okay, great. What artifacts do you have for me today?
I copied off 3 different students' work. I wanted you to see the high, the middle, and the low end for the
great.
students, and I copied off both the language sheets and then the comprehension sheets that they did.
Okay,
And so
great.
there's some different samples there.
Okay, those look great.
And I do try to sometimes I put notes on their work, sometimes I don't. Usually
Okay,
we
like you have guided practice right here.
Yes, sometimes we we'll put good job or awesome work or things like that. We try to stay away from some of the negative type things. However, I think there was one sheet in there. On this one we put, please pay attention and try to be alert during guided practice.
Okay.
Because the student had just X'd out what he did
Okay.
not want to do while we were doing it on the board.
Okay.
It is a student that's pretty bright. However, we like them to kind of follow along and do it with us so that they know a little bit more about what's going on.
Okay, great. What teaching standards were related to your lesson?
I think probably standards 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. And given the data, what is your plan in moving forward to teach your goals?
We go through and try to do our language, our daily oral language stuff. We used to do it every day, but with the way the curriculum falls, we don't have time for that anymore with what the pacing guide and stuff. And so we try to do it at least once a week and work it in, and then, like I said, the kids kind of know the routine of how we're gonna do it. We try to focus on different parts of language, like, one day it might be punctuation, other times it might be more looking at the grammatical errors, that type of thing. So we try to go where the kids need the most help.
Okay.
And same thing with the reading. One day we might focus on comprehension, and another day we might be working on fluency.
Okay. Okay. Well, some of the things I would like to give you some feedback of areas of strength that I saw, like you mentioned in Standard 1. Standard 1D is accepting and demonstrating responsibility for creating a classroom culture that supports the learning of every student. I think you did an awesome job at that. Like you had mentioned at the very beginning, there was one student that was kind of struggling to follow your directions. You did a great job standing close to him and get him to come back around to being a part of the class and actually doing the work. Also Standard 3E, using available resources, including technologies. You did great with the Elmo. You had a novel that was really good for them to use. Also using the read alouds to where they can hear on audio version to help your struggling learners. That's great for increasing comprehension. And then finally, Standard 4A, aligning your classroom instruction with the local standards and district curriculum. You did a good job of putting that up on the board and letting the students know kind of where your activity was going for the day. So those things were really great. We were working on seeing your participation level, so we used verbal flow chart.
Okay.
And with that verbal flow chart, what I saw is you did a really excellent job at making sure everybody was involved. The one student that you mentioned, he had a whole lot more of you asking him a lot more questions to probe him and try to get him back on task, which was great. There was one student that he was commenting a lot back to you, but he didn't get as many of the direct questions as some of the other students. So maybe, and he was to your right and slightly behind, so it might have been one that got away from you. But I would say the areas we might look at in the future is how we can use that data that we collect using the verbal flow and aligning it with your classroom assessment with instruction, because you had mentioned during our pre-observation that one of your points for grading was also participation during class.
Right.
So how we can kind of mesh those two things together to use that data.
Okay.
There's also different PD opportunities. I believe you are doing the culture and climate this summer.
Yes.
That'd be great in this area and participation and getting the kids more active. So I'm really glad you're going to be a part of that. But what I would like last is just for you to kind of summarize what we've talked about today and your goals and moving forward and what that might look like in the area of participation.
Well, I think that being more aware, you said about the students kind of behind me, being more aware of the other students when I'm still, working directly with one.
Yeah.
Maybe having, walking around the room a little bit more, having my associate up walking around the room a little bit more, trying to keep everyone, completely focused. I think that sometimes, you kind of get stuck on one student. And so, especially if they start to show off and that type of thing. And of course, with a classroom of kids that are on so many different levels, and different types of behaviors that they have, sometimes that is difficult, but becoming more aware of the surroundings. Yeah. And then looking more at like you were talking about, the PD classes and stuff like that, and focusing on maybe something that pinpoints that area.
Okay. Well, great. Like I said, overall, it was a very good lesson, and you did all the things that I was looking for during the evaluation. And so we will be looking into the future for your professional development learning targets.
Okay, sounds
Thank you.
good. Thank you.